Hello, people of the internet. Today we have a real monkey paw situation. Some information that sounds like it could be potentially pretty cool, and some kind of bad news also, in my opinion. A little sad for me. And I'm unsure of how to interpret this quote. So I want you guys to comment below what you make of it, or just what you would prefer, because, at this point it's speculative, right? So, in a new interview over here with Games Radar and Slash Film, the headline reads, Zack Snyder confirms Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead share a universe, which at first you think, well, that's just what it is. It's a shared universe. And personally, I found that to be an interesting prospect, because it could be a situation where, in Army of the Dead, when the military are transporting that first zombie, there's two alien saucers in the sky that take off. So aliens were always part of that. But they come from Area 51, all this other stuff, which, by the way, I've been around, never inside. I got stationed all around that place, trained all around the, New Mexico area. Never once Area 51. Kind of a huge bummer. Maybe they just didn't trust me. Yeah, so we knew aliens were part of this, but we just thought that it was two different things. And now it seems like perhaps because of an alien releasing the zombie virus on us in the first place, maybe they took pity and tried to take us to the stars as a sorry we destroyed your planet thing, and then we just got really good at being an intergalactic empire, and they regretted their life choices immediately. Or it could be a thing where we develop faster than light travel to escape the zombie apocalypse, leaving Earth to be nothing but, a hell zone of zombies and pockets of survivors. And those people, thousands and thousands and thousands of years later, are now the people of Rebel Moon, the different warring empires that have seemingly taken over a lot of the known galaxy. Kind of an impressive feat. I'll just read you the exact quotes from the article, and I'll link the article down below if you want to read more details. But in my opinion, it's one of those things where he says three things, and then they kind of fluffed it out to be a whole article for more ad revenue. I don't hate, everyone's got to pay the bills somehow, but whatever. So, quote, Army of the Dead has a pretty vast mythology that just never made it into the movie. There's actually a character from Rebel Moon in the Army of the Dead animated series that we never did. And now that's Army of the Dead Las Vegas. And that hurts a lot. I already wanted that. I'm a huge Joe Manganiello fan. We barely got any of them in DC. We were supposed to get more of them in Army of the Dead, prequels and stuff. And we were robbed. We were robbed at every turn. And now I found out that he would have tied into the space epic. The unfinished series is what contains the Rebel Moon crossovers. Quote, at one point in the show, they go through a portal into another dimension, and there are characters in that other dimension, and they come across. In Rebel Moon, they're in this bar, and one of the aliens is one of the characters from the animatics, so it's definitely a shared universe. So this is the part where I start to question the actual, Army of the Dead is a prequel to Rebel Moon, because Zack Snyder is a huge Rick and Morty fan. So portals with cameos and background characters as gags, he loves that. We know this because he has tried to help make a Rick and Morty movie. Not necessarily him directing it, but he's how can I use my juice to kind of propel you guys to the area you need to be to make your thing? I want to see that movie. I have power. I'll use my power to help you guys make the movie you want to make, Although, to be fair, I think it would be funny to see him make sort of a zany comedy, because that's something that people don't expect from his wheelhouse. So does this actually mean that, yes, the real details here are this, or is it how in Army of the Dead, the Snyder Cut is in the vault, Because that's just a fun homage. It's a fun, oh, look, this is the most valuable thing in the universe. Boom. Loads of money, golden AKs, Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's just some fun. And so I don't know, and that's what I want you guys to say what you feel. Do you think that this means that this is a shared universe? Literally, the characters of Army of the Dead have some degree, even if minute, on the timeline of Army of the Dead now. Like, Charlie Hunnam could be a descendant of Tig Notaro, for all we know, right? Could be. Will it be? Who knows? So, I'm curious what you think, because I don't know which it is, and I'm not sure which one I would prefer, because I also kind of like the idea that Army of the Dead was playing with time loops and timelines. And so, I don't know if that was meant to be resetting the same timeline or hopping multiverse dimensions of the same events, in which case Rebel Moon is just the end result of one of those timelines, maybe, Zack is a pretty crazy dude. He likes to do some fun stuff, so who knows? And it's interesting, right, to see all this. As far as how far they got on the Las Vegas script and all the work, Army of the Dead Las Vegas has already been completed. We did all the scripts and the animatics, and the voices are recorded, so you could watch it even in its crazy animatic form. You could watch the whole run. The series had an anime-inspired show chronicling the early days of the undead outbreak. However, people have been claiming that the animation house that was supposed to do all of Army of the Dead closed during the pandemic. Work was just a little bit slower, and so they finished part of it, but they didn't finish all of it. But I know that Jay Oliva, who did like tons of DC stuff, that he was attached to the project. I don't know if he was just the director or if it was his production studio, because I hope it wasn't his production studio that went under, because that would then call in the Norse animation as well, the Twilight of the Gods. That would call that into question, whether or not that's ever coming out, which would be a real bummer. However, even if it wasn't Jay's studio and he was just overseeing some of it, there's a fair chance that Netflix would have just gone to the same studio and said, hey, you guys do the Snyder things, which could mean that both of those are in danger. And I know that, people weren't super concerned with, oh, well, let's see Zack Snyder's animated Thor, and let's see Zack Snyder's animated Joe Manganiello, which, how dare you, first of all? Why would you not want to see more Joe Manganiello? All right? How dare you? But we just got confirmation that that Las Vegas was going to tie into things. And the whole safe motif in Army of Thieves was about, Norse mythology. So I'm pretty damn sure every single one of these things connected and was, I think, in the truest form of the definition, the Snyderverse. And, I know that because of the hashtag and everything, people always say DC. That's the Snyderverse. And I totally can understand that, and I respect the opinion of people who have that. However, from my perspective, it was a group project, right? He said, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Warner Brothers was saying, no, you can't do that. He couldn't even choose the title of his movies. He didn't want Batman vs. Superman. He didn't get final say on the Ultimate Edition actually being the one that goes out, because they call it the Ultimate Edition. It should just be called Batman vs. Superman. This is the version Zack Snyder made, not that shit Warner Brothers edited. Ayer got screwed over. Jenkins had her whole third act changed for the original Wonder Woman movie. All these things got swapped over. Don't even get me started on Justice League. For me, that was Zack Snyder's leading a very cool, creative team, but it was a group project. It was never a Snyderverse. Those weren't Snyder characters, and it wasn't his vision. He never had the complete creative control that Warner Brothers would like you to believe every time they want to blame him. However, anytime any of the actors or characters or sequels that he put into motion did big money, they made sure to tell you that he had no control over anything, and he had nothing to do with it. So for me, that was a really cool Snyder-influenced DC universe that had a whole bunch of collaborators, both talented and not. Whereas we have this, which is very Snyder. This is him at his most, trying to find a word that won't be twisted to be negative, because I feel like Unchained or Unhinged could be seen as a negative, and I mean it as a positive. So give me your feedback. Do you think that this is a legitimate narrative connected, these characters are canon to this story universe? Maybe not prequels to original trilogy Star Wars, but maybe Old Republic to original trilogy Star Wars. There's more time between them and a couple generations, but maybe they are important in some way, shape, or form. And which one would you prefer? Would you prefer the idea that they're connected or not? and that's a plane overhead, because this is a beautiful day outside, and as you know, I always record these when I'm going on a little bit of a nature walk. So let me know what you think down below. You know, let's grieve Las Vegas, and maybe, look, I'm not trying to tell people to give up on DC doing future Snyder things, because frankly, no one ever thought they'd do one more Snyder movie, and we got it, and it ruled, right? So I'm not telling you to give up, but maybe use that black magic internet hashtag mumbo jumbo to will Las Vegas and Twilight of the Gods back into existence, because damn it, me personally, I'm selfish. I'm really invested in those stories, and I like the actors involved in them, and so I have a platform here, and you guys have been making my videos actually do really well recently. Like, I'm really shocked, and I'm very grateful for it. So I'm going to abuse that power immediately and try to get people to make the things that I want happen and protect them, because I need this. I need this in my life. Joking aside, Joe Manganiello did a charity stream around the time that Zack Snyder's Justice League was coming out for mental health, and the things that he said genuinely helped me when COVID was really bad, and like work at the hospital for my wife was like life endangering, and we didn't know what we were going to do, and things ended up being okay, but it was bleak there for a couple of months. It was a really rough time. So yeah, he's not just a hunk, he's like actually a dude I really look up to as like an individual. So yeah, I'm biased, and I want that to come out, you know? Like, these are movies and shows, and it's all fiction, but I mean, these are people and ideas that resonate with us for a reason, right? And that's the reason it resonates with me, is it matters. You know, I'm a human being, I'm an adult, I pay my taxes whether I like it or not, and you know, this is the type of stuff that helped put wind in my sails when there wasn't any. So I like cool shit, and I like cool dudes, and this is both. So I don't know, maybe unlost Vegas. I don't know. I'm not the hashtag creator, but something snappy, witty, short, and clever, like Danny DeVito, just something to really make it sing and sell. To remind Netflix, hey, we know that you guys aren't Warner Brothers, and you guys are actually paying attention, but you've already got all these things fully voiced, so you don't even have to worry about the Actors Guild, and as long as the animators don't go on strike, you should be fine. Just finish these things. I mean, frankly, with the strikes going, they'd be stupid not to turn to their unfinished products and finish them, the same way Warner Brothers should be finishing the Ayer cut. But Warner Brothers is run by a bunch of, like, orangutans in business suits. I'm hoping Netflix is like maybe a bonobo, someone a little bit more trustworthy. I don't know, a capuchin. And there's my monkey knowledge. So let me know what you would prefer and what you think. Shared universe or just Rick and Morty style cameos? How stoked are you? We are nearing the Rebel Mooning. It is upon us. Will it be? Yes, it be. Because it be coming soon. And I'm very happy for that. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.